This is not a get-rich video. This is for people trapped in the poverty wage cycle who want to break out of that trap and finally earn some financial stability for themselves in America. I am not a guru, I am not some finance influencer, and I'm not rich. But I am a professional expert on the job market who was able to lift myself out of childhood poverty and now helps thousands of young adults every year do the same. So today's video is going to be something of a masterclass on how to escape the poverty wage cycle in America and create baseline financial stability for yourself and your loved ones. If you are an hourly wage earner in America, then there is a much bigger gap between you and the middle class than you probably realize. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 55% of all US workers are paid an hourly rate as opposed to a salary, and 20% of all US workers are working less than 30 hours per week, which means that they are not eligible for a salary, insurance, paid time off, or any type of total compensation package. That is 1 in every 5 working adults in the US. And if you clicked on this video, then there's a decent chance that that includes you or the people around you. So why does this matter? Because there are over 30 million Americans who are part-time wage earners, which is a little less than the total population of Canada. And the gap between those workers and full-time salaried employees is a lot more severe than you probably realize. The median hourly wage in America is predicted to be $17 an hour. There's a lot of fluctuation based off where you live, but basically 17 is right in the middle. Someone working 25 hours per week is bringing home approximately $1,300 a month in take-home pay. Also, side note, this number is ironically almost identical to what Forbes has set as the average rent in America for a 1-bedroom apartment, which is $1,370 a month. But you already know that you're broke, and that's not what this video is about. But I want you to appreciate that number as we move forward and compare it to the average salaried employee in the United States. Average salaries range from $45,000 to $75,000 depending on what state you live in, with Mississippi having the lowest, and Massachusetts and New York generally being tied for the highest. For the sake of simplicity, we're gonna look at somebody in the middle, making $55,000 a year, which at an hourly rate would translate to about $26 an hour, which is technically only a $9 difference between the person making $17 an hour. But you need to keep in mind that somebody on a full-time salary is also eligible for benefits. So that's insurance, retirement contributions, other types of allocations, and basically whatever it is that your company offers you. That tends to range from about $2,000 a month in additional benefits on top of your pay to about $4,000 a month for government employees. So at a salary of $55,000 a year after taxes, you would be bringing home approximately $3,600 every month as your take-home pay. But you are also getting anywhere up to $4,000 worth of insurance, retirement benefits, paid time off, and anything else that's part of your total compensation package. So that could equal up to a $7,600 value overall. It would require somebody who works part-time without benefits, working at 25 hours a week and after taxes, to make $91 per hour in order to match the value that somebody who's making $55K would be bringing home every month when you include their salary on top of their benefits. And this is somebody who's technically only making $9 an hour more. That disparity is absolutely insane. Just going from the average wage earner in America to the average salary earner in America is enough to more than quadruple your overall compensation. And something like $55K isn't even that impressive of a salary in America. Like, it is nothing to write home and brag about, but it can provide a life-changing amount of money to people who are stuck in the poverty wage trap. Regardless of how disciplined you are, regardless of how much money you try to save for how long, you simply cannot compete with somebody making 4 times the amount of compensation that you are. I remember once trying to save $2,000 in college so that I could take a trip to Japan, and this was when I was working $15 an hour as an EMT and working only 29 hours a week because the hospital didn't want to pay me benefits. And it was literally impossible for me to put aside $2,000 in my goal of 10 months. Literally impossible. Cut forward to after grad school, and with my very first salary job working with the state government, I was just putting away more than $2,000 a month without even trying because my pay and compensation had risen so dramatically in relation to my cost of living. I didn't have a discipline issue in college with saving money. I had an income issue. And so for people who are trapped in these poverty cycles, one of the very best steps that you can take towards becoming middle class, becoming financially stable, is simply becoming a full-time salaried employee somewhere, anywhere at all. I spent 8 years of my life working 19 different part-time jobs, oftentimes 2 or 3 jobs at the same time. Every year or two, I would just jump from shitty job to shitty job to shitty job because, hey, at least the next shitty job paid me 50 cents to $1 more than the last shitty job did. And I did this because I came from a hard-working blue-collar background. I did not know that you could be financially empowered without nepotism, without a STEM degree, or without going into some stereotypically high-income job like being a doctor or a lawyer. I thought that I had to hard work and hustle my way out of poverty and into the middle class. And I kept that up for 8 years until I stumbled upon my first full-time salaried benefited position almost by accident. And so overnight, I went from making less than $1,000 a month to making almost $3,000 a month. And I got insurance and retirement benefits and other benefits on top of that, which were things that I had to pay for myself while also making less than $1,000 a month. And so I want you to look at me, really look at me, and listen to what I'm about to say to you. Working harder will not help you escape poverty in America. You have to work smart, which means that you need to start finding jobs like a professional and applying to jobs like a professional. Full-time, salaried, benefited jobs are not on Indeed. Okay, some of them are, but very few of them are. Companies who are hiring professional staff are not stupid. They do not want random anybody's applying to their jobs. They want relevant, qualified, quality talent. And so they have very specific ways that they go about finding those people. And if you want to get in front of those companies in order to get a good paying job, then you need to meet those opportunities where they're at and go to the places where these companies are actually hiring from. You need to start finding jobs like a professional. This could be a whole video unto itself, but I'm gonna give you the 3 main places that you should start looking for full-time benefited jobs. Number 1 are networking events. These are usually in the form of career fairs or industry open houses. They might be hosted by Workforce Services or from your local public university or from professional organizations. An example of this would be an aviation group bringing a bunch of airlines into an airport in order to hire people who want to work in aviation. These things happen literally all the time in literally every city in America. And they're almost always open to the public. But most of the people who are privy to these events are either current college students or professionals already working in the industry. And so the issue isn't about a lack of access, it's about a lack of awareness. And so you need to give yourself that awareness if you want to get yourself in front of these companies hiring professionals. That requires reaching out to your local Workforce Services or to your local college's career center or to local recruiters in your target industry. Which brings me to the second best place to start looking for professional jobs, and that is LinkedIn. I'm not talking about LinkedIn's job board here. No, I'm talking about getting information straight from the horse's mouth on what you can do in order to be an effective candidate and apply correctly to these full-time benefited jobs. Go to any company page and then search for talent acquisition staff. Follow them, look at their pages. This is how professionals in an industry pivot into other professional jobs. And these people are the gatekeepers between you living in poverty and this nebulous middle class in America. They'll let you know when hiring events are coming up, and if you mention them, they will tell you exactly what you need to do in order to be an effective candidate at their company, because they make commission off hires. Some companies like to have these recruiters refer you to hiring managers, while others like to have you do something very specific, like filling out information on a certain portal and then attending a virtual hiring event. These recruiters will tell you, though, what you need to do for that company. Which brings me to the next place that I want to talk about really briefly, which is specialized job boards. There are so many hidden job boards that you do not know about. Federal jobs are all on usajobs.gov. Teaching jobs are often on State Department of Education hiring portals. Even certified public accountants have their own job boards that are managed by professional organizations and aren't publicly listed on places like Indeed and LinkedIn. In fact, this hidden job market is way bigger than most people realize, and it's predicted that 70% of all full-time benefited positions are filled through people looking in places that are generally considered the hidden job market. They aren't on public job boards, they're on either specialized job boards, through recruiters on places like LinkedIn, or at in-person networking events like an open house or a job fair. So you need to get into these networks if you want to start meeting professional opportunities where they are at. And then once you do, it's time to start applying to jobs like a professional. If your resume looks like this, or if it looks like this, you have already lost because you don't take yourself seriously as a candidate. Applying to jobs like a professional means tailoring relevant information about your education skills and experiences to the target industry or even the target jobs that you are applying to. And this is not that hard to do. When it comes to the resume, just go into a blank Word document and start producing a summary about the value that you bring to the table that directly relates to the jobs that you're applying to. But I don't have any relevant experience. Maybe not. But you do have relevant transferable skills that you have acquired from other things that you've done in the past. Could be from classes, could be from extracurriculars, could be volunteer work, could be personal projects, 3D printing your own Lego sets. It doesn't really matter. What you want to do in a resume is communicate to the hiring manager that you have the foundational requirements necessary in order to get started doing the job, and that you have enough of a growth mindset and professional self-awareness to do the job effectively. So go through the job description and look at every single thing that's listed that relates to you and your background. Did you handle money at an old part-time job? Great, talk about that. Did you learn this technical skill in a class you took in high school? Great, talk about that. Any experience you have is going to be as good as you can communicate it effectively to somebody else. It doesn't have to be jobs that you were paid to do. See, the dirty secret of the professional workforce is that well-paid professionals use any experience at their disposal when marketing themselves to somebody else. It doesn't matter what it is. Whereas people living in poverty just create this long form list of everything that they've ever done, regardless of whether or not it's relevant or it's going to resonate with your target audience, namely professional hiring managers. Employers don't want your life story, they don't want to be impressed, and they don't want to be flattered. They want backed up proof that you are able to do the job that they're asking you to do. That's it. And when it comes to something like a cover letter or an email that you send to a hiring manager, really all you need to do is say, "Hi, hiring team at company. My name is this and I am interested in this job for XYZ reasons. You are looking for a candidate that can provide or does X, Y, and Z. Here's where I've done those things in the past. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. Name." That's it. Becoming a professional starts with marketing yourself like a professional. I would say that this is a case of faking it until you make it, but that's not really true. What I'm encouraging you to do is to adopt the different frameworks that were taught to people who were born into more privileged circumstances than you were. And once you've done this, you can start taking effective next steps towards creating the financial and career life that you want. But beyond just getting a full-time job, I do want to give some other recommendations that will help you in the pursuit of becoming middle class, or at the very least will help you move beyond the middle class once you actually start to get there. Getting ahead in America is really, really hard. Doing things like buying a house, raising kids, or having any type of upward socioeconomic mobility is extremely difficult for a single earner household in today's economy. If you want to really change the game for yourself, and this is going to sound really trite, but being in a relationship with somebody else who earns a decent income is going to slingshot you towards that goal. Maybe you can't make 6 figures in your area, but hey, if you and your husband, girlfriend, wife, whoever are both making 50K, then guess what? You are a 6-figure household. 2 incomes is always better than 1, so lifting your partner out of the poverty wage trap is going to help you both substantially increase your standard of living very, very, very quickly. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is moving. I know that there's a lot of baggage caught up in where you live, and I'm not going to be the person to tell you that you need to abandon your elderly parents to go seek money somewhere else. But I do want you to consider moving as a viable consideration to make. Ask yourself some questions. Is it dangerous where you live? Do people like you get discriminated against where you live? Is there no economic opportunity where you live? On the opposite end, is it too expensive where you live? Moving can dramatically increase your financial situation, either by giving you more job opportunities and therefore more money, or by dramatically decreasing your cost of living in some category of ways. Do that calculus and figure out whether moving might be a legitimately viable way for you and your family to make a better life for yourselves. This is a very, very big country. But if you do get a salaried full-time benefited job where you live, then I want you to also consider job hopping somewhat early. Entry-level positions pay way less than mid to senior level positions, and oftentimes qualifying for those only requires 2 to 3 years worth of directly related work. So job hopping every few years in your early career is a really good way to dramatically out-earn the amount of money that you would have gotten from, raises and promotions had you stayed loyal to one company. Today's job market is not going to look out for you, so you need to look out for yourself. And if you would like to learn more about how to empower yourself with the best practices and how to take the next best steps towards your lifestyle and financial goals, then like this video and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a ton, and I am here on a mission to help as many people as humanly possible lift themselves out of poverty, create financial stability for themselves, and take the next best steps towards their goals, whatever they might be. I will see you in the next video.